Sagar at Indoindians.com, and today I'm here with Shareen. Shareen Ratnani is an educator. She's a teacher trainer, and she has been doing many of these inspiring workshops with Indo-Indians. If you've been connected with Indo-Indians, you know you would have attended one or another of her workshops. She's also done the 5 love languages for children. She's also done a parenting workshop with us, and she has been so giving and wonderful with Indo-Indians. So I really invite her and thank her for sharing this with her. You will notice we also have a little bit of meditation music in the background. You know, this is supposed to give you a lot of positive energy. So this will be great. I would ask you to, just put your mobile phones on silent and just focus on this wonderful session, which is going to help you learn a little bit more about yourself and hopefully help you unlock your potential. So, Shareen, all over to you.
Thank you, Poonam. Thank you, Poonam, and thanks for hosting this, because I really honor you for always trying to host different workshops which help people, right from those fun cooking sessions to these. And I always feel that even if one person picks up one good thing, it's going to change the world. So thank you very much. And I think Poonam already said, acknowledge Raj and Jenny. They were the ones who inspired me with this. And so here I am ready to share this with you today. So I hope some of you have the workbook, and if you don't have it, then just grab a piece of paper, because there is some reflective stuff that we would be doing. And I'll just share my screen so we can get started.
So, Shareen, would you like people to have their videos on, or is
Yeah,
it okay?
it would be great for you to have your videos on. I really like to see people, but if you are uncomfortable to do that, it's fine. I like to see people because I like to have an interactive, but it's fine. I mean, if you're jogging somewhere and you're listening to me, then it's fine, but it'd be great. Thank you, Rita. Thanks. It's always nice to see people. Right. So, inner leadership, powers, and attitudes, they lie within you. And if it's to be, it's up to me. Right. So today's workshop is all about something that is just within you. It's about your own powers and attitudes. And the reason I put this together is because when I was introduced to it, I think it helped me a lot. It helped me in my way of being. And the reason I'm sharing it is because I am sure, if not one or two elements, uh, more than those will help you in your way of being. So, unlocking your potential and starting your own life, your self transformation just lies within you. Whatever we go through in life, whatever we are all going through now with this whole COVID situation, there's so much of uncertainty, anxiety, and there's so much of vibrational energy that's sometimes negative and it falls upon us. The only thing we can do is latch on to our own powers, dig into our own treasury of powers, and use them to face whatever we need to face. And today is all about unlocking that potential, which is completely something that you are gifted with, and you just have to be aware of those treasures. Right, so these are the 8 powers, and I will be going through them in detail. And for each of these powers, there is an attitude that we need to cultivate so that we can actually use these powers successfully. Right, so before I start, I just want to play this little game. You can see a screen full of numbers here. What I want you to do is try and find a sequence of numbers like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just try and find the sequence of numbers, and I will give you like 30 seconds to do this. Okay, at the end of it, I would like you to share on the chat box how many numbers you could see. So let's start now. All right, let's start. Okay, so can you just type out the number on your chat box? How many numbers could you find? Poonam can just help me read out. Now we have 14, Poonam, 13, 12. All right. Okay, so we've got 13, 12, 13, 15. Any more numbers?
So what I found, Shareen, was, multiples of 4.
Okay. Right. Okay. So what you were supposed to do is find the numbers as in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the same numbers. The only difference is now there is a grid dividing these numbers. So what I want you to do is to find numbers in sequence. Again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But now I'm letting you know that number 1 is on the left grid. Number 2 is on the right grid. Number 3 is on the lower right, and 4 is on the left. All right. So when you follow a clockwise motion, you will be able to spot numbers in sequence. I'm giving you 30 seconds and start finding the numbers now. All right. Let's stop. And can you write down how many numbers you could find on the chat box? Right. We have 22, 25, 31.
But
25,
45.
22, 25, 31, 17, 45. Wow. Okay, 41. Right. Phenomenal increase in numbers. And it was the same sequence of numbers, the same page. The only difference between the first and the second was your awareness of how to find the numbers, right? So just that awareness changed the way you found numbers. This is what I like to say. A lack of awareness can make something simple much more difficult. So the first thing that we need to do today is be aware that all these powers and attitudes that we're going to talk about, be aware of them and be aware that you have them. Because when you do that, you're going to find it very simple to actually use them. Awareness of your inner warriors. This is a great graphic which actually stands for the 8 powers, and these are your warriors. When we say warriors, it's because they're there to protect you through life, protect you through, to not fight, that's a negative word, but just protect you to be the very best version of yourself. And the best part is they're available to you all the time. Just create an awareness. The starting point in leading others is learning to lead yourself. And Robin Sharma said this. So we're all leaders in some way. Either we're leaders at companies, at work, we're leaders at home, we're leading our housekeepers, we're mothers or fathers, and we're leading a family. And to lead anyone, you have to learn to lead yourself. If you are screaming and shouting and vulnerable, you cannot expect people around you to not be the same. That's what leaders do. They create a culture. So you are creating a culture at home, a culture in your team, a culture wherever you are. So the most important thing is to first learn how to lead yourself. And the thing about leading is that everybody who's following you is trusting you. You know, they're playing. So you as a leader have this responsibility of guiding people through uncharted territory, and they are trusting you. So you have that responsibility. And if all of us together could be these leaders, not just physically in companies, but be leaders in terms of the kind of powers that we use as human beings, we might be leading the world to a much better place. So I have in the workbook, I've asked you a question. I would like you to write down What does leadership mean to you? You can just write down a few words. Just say, what is leadership? You could think about yourself as being a parent as a leader, or in terms of business, it doesn't matter. Could you just write that down? Right. Would anyone like to unmute and share? We have one or two people unmute and share what is leadership.
Take the first initiative.
Great, to take the first initiative. What else? Thank you. Can we have one more person share?
I think to be a good example for others.
To be a good example for others, yes. It's very interesting. Thank you. It's very interesting, but when you type the word leadership on Google, you'll get over 5 million hits, right? So there's a whole lot of different definitions about being a leader. And think about the lion. You know, the lion is the leader or the king of the jungle, but the lion is not the biggest animal. He is not the wisest animal. He is not the strongest animal, but yet he's the leader of the jungle. Why? Leadership is a mindset that we build. And today's inner leadership is going to be the core of that leadership. So I like this definition of leadership, which says successful leadership begins with key skills, the ability to stay calm and think clearly under fire. When everybody is panicking, yet you can stay calm enough to lead. Look at countries, look at any institutions around the world. It's easy to lead when it's calm. It's tough to lead when there is a storm. Even in a family, you know, when you have to make daily decisions, there's no problem. But when you have a problem and you have to be a leader, that decision making becomes so much more harder. So these are the inner skills we need to be able to think clearly when there is a storm. And I look at these as your own lighthouse. These are our innate powers, and your powers define who you are. As human beings, our natural way of being is to be happy. It's a very pure state. And when you use these powers, they're like your lighthouse. So when you're out of alignment, these powers guide you like the lighthouse to come back to your state of being. And the attitudes determine how well you can use these powers. So what I want you to do is you have this on your workbook, which says I am a star, right? I want you to write down 5 different attributes or 5 different things which you think make you a star. Okay, write them down.
Where did this workbook come from?
We emailed it. I think Poonam emailed it to everyone, but we're happy to WhatsApp it.
Okay.
Let me, shall I send you the link? Do you want to print it now?
That's okay. I have it.
Yeah. Otherwise, you can just draw a star and write down the five attributes that make you a shining star. Right. I'd like people to share, because one of the things is we learn from sharing. So I really urge you, whether your video is on or off, I really request you to please share so we can even learn from one another. Thank you. Right. So if you're ready, can anyone unmute and share what makes them a star? So when you say it, I want you to say, I am a star because I am whatever. All right? Okay.
So maybe I can start.
Sure.
I am a star because I have energy, lots of energy.
Okay. Anything else?
I like to plan and organize, and I believe in God. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, and I love with my whole heart,
Brilliant.
and I have empathy. I empathize with the people around me.
Beautiful. All right. Okay. Somebody else? Can someone else share what makes you?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Sure. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, Pixie here.
Hi, Pixie.
I have written, I am very hardworking. I have a very progressive thinking, down to earth, honest, and completely dedicated.
Brilliant. Okay. Can we have one more person to share? And then we'll go on.
Can I share, please?
Okay. Of course.
Yeah, okay. So I feel I'm a star only and only because I never ever give up. Never. Come what may, I never give up. And I don't believe in master in one and, I believe in mastering in everything. And I feel if I work hard, I can do it. So I'm not less than a star at all at any given time.
Brilliant. Okay. Thank you very much. Okay.
Thank
So
you.
we're all stars. We're all these shining stars. Would anyone else like to share?
Can I share?
Okay. Sure.
I wasn't going to, but honestly,
We can't hear you, Raj.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
And I'm a star because you're all stars. It's so beautiful. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Right. So we're all stars, and sometimes we're not very aware of these beautiful qualities that we have. And it's very important to constantly, if you have that, put it up somewhere. Remind yourself about your positive qualities. And besides what you see, besides these attitudes that you have, which actually guide you, like someone said that, so hardworking, that attitude of hardworking pulls you through everything else in life. Besides having just these 5 things that make you a star, you've got loads and loads deeper inside. And today, let's start now to unpack all these beautiful inner powers. I just want to also tell you that all of these attitudes that you have, all of these powers that you have, they are useful. They help you when you use them at the right time. So if there's a man in the desert and you give him a glass of water, he's probably going to use that more than if you just give him 2 grams or 5 grams of gold, which will mean nothing to him. So you need to know these powers and attitudes, they are like threads on a tapestry. And when you use them in the right way, they are so beautifully woven into your way of being, into your life, that you can effortlessly live your life with these attitudes. Right. So the first one is the power to withdraw. Right. We're all faced, I think this COVID has been an unprecedented situation, and each and every one of us has faced some form of uncertainty, anxiety, stress, not only during COVID. Sometimes the vibrational energy around you is very negative. And at that point, we need to know that we shouldn't absorb this negativity. This is the time where we need to use the power to withdraw. And the analogy I'd like to use is the analogy of a turtle, right? So you need to be able to go within that turtle shell and remain there in inner peace and calm. So think of yourself just withdrawing and going inside that turtle. That's what a turtle does. When it is threatened by some danger, it goes inside its shell. So that's what we need to do. Instead of being part of that storm and negativity, go inside. And what do you do when you're inside that shell? When you're inside that shell, it is very important to listen to your own soul energy. This is the time where you need to introspect. This is the time where you use your own coping mechanism to realign to your natural state of being. So, for example, say you've been very unhappy, you felt a burnout, there's lots of things troubling you, that's the time when you go in and when you introspect, there are many different things that you can do. Okay, what are the things that we can do? This is a picture of the heart, which the with the word ear in the middle, to remind you that not only do we listen to everybody else around us in life, we need to stop and listen to ourselves and our own soul energy so that we can take care of ourselves. Remember, only when you can lead yourself, you can lead others. So, right, so when you are in this turtle shell, you need to use that attitude of patience. Wait in there, and you have different options there. Either you introspect, you think about what you're feeling, think about the perspectives of other people that have troubled you, sit and introspect about the whole situation, or reflect. And one of the best things about reflection is that when I reflect, what I do is I reflect on gratitude. I reflect on what I have versus what I don't have, so that when I'm in my turtle shell, I make sure I feel better before I'm ready to come out. And the third thing you can do is have your own insight. Some people, when they're in the turtle shell, they meditate, they want their calm. Some people just want to talk to friends. So everyone has different things that they want to do, but sometimes you need to just be there by yourself, thinking, meditating, calming yourself, getting reconnected with your own inner powers before you come out. We must find time to stop and thank the people who make a difference in our lives. This is a very, very big thing when we are caught up, in a lot of negativity. It is very important to realize what we are grateful for, because neuroscience says that when you practice gratitude, your brain is releasing serotonin and dopamine, and these hormones make you feel happy. They take care of your own well-being. So I want you to just, in that worksheet or on a sheet of paper, write down 10 people who make a difference in your life. Maybe they're not around you, maybe there's someone from your childhood, but people who have made a difference in your life. So can you just write down? We don't have to share this, but just write down. I'll give you a minute. Okay, yeah, Gia. So what I said is basically write down the 10 people in your life who have done something for you, who you're grateful for. Just write down that list. Right. Okay. If you haven't finished writing out that list, you can finish it later. But look at that list and ask yourself, when was the last time you acknowledged these people? When was the last time you actually said a thank you to them? When was the last time you expressed this gratitude? Because if the whole world expressed gratitude, can you imagine what a happy world we would have? So if you haven't done it after this workshop, express that gratitude. It's so easy to pick up that phone and just share or say thank you to someone or tell that person about the difference they have made in your life. So practicing gratitude frequently is very important for us. And it's one of the ways, it's one of my self-coping mechanisms. And again, in the worksheet, I have given you something where it says, what are your coping mechanisms? It's important to know, how do you cope when you are feeling this burnout, right? And I also want to remind you, when you go inside your turtle shell, whatever happens, however hard things are, okay, even if an elephant foot presses itself on a turtle's shell, it's not going to get damaged. So that's how you have the safe haven to always go to. Right. The next power is the power to let go. Right. A lot of us carry baggage. You know, when you go on a holiday, you just carry the things that you want to, and you carry a lot of extra things that you don't want to. Now, the journey of life, we need to learn to just let go of the things that we don't need to carry and just carry what you need. Because when you carry too much, especially negativity, you are burning yourself out and nobody else. So if you are feeling anger towards someone, it's only you who's getting burnt out, and the other person doesn't feel any anger. So learn to let go of the emotions. And the way to do it is by practicing the attitude of humility, right? So when you are humble and honest to yourself and say, God, I'm feeling hatred, I'm feeling jealousy, I'm feeling anger. When you come in contact with your own feelings and you can actually say and acknowledge you're feeling this, then you can let it go. So drop your emotional baggage. Drop the me. Me is your mind and your ego. Drop it, because when you do that, you're going to feel a sense of lightness as you move ahead in life. And if you don't do that, so a lot of people find it very hard. You know, they hold on to resentment, anger, guilt, and shame. That's rags. When you hold on to these things, what happens is, when you're just sitting alone and you're trying to introspect, you it's like a garbage bin with a stench of these that really stinks on your own face. So drop these things, because they do nothing but disrupt your own happiness. And if you find it hard to do it one at a time. Again, in your workbook, I have given you a picture of a baggage, and I will give you about a minute to quickly write down, what are these negative things that you are holding on to, that you've been wanting to let go of and you haven't yet let go of them. Right. Okay. So I don't know if anyone has an empty bag. I've never seen anyone with an empty bag. We all have something that we carry. It's okay. It's okay. It's not, there's not nothing right or wrong. We all carry it. It's just normal. We're human beings. But what you need to do is have an awareness that you're carrying it, and have an awareness that it's weighing you down in some way. So once you've seen this bag, next thing you got to do is learn to empty it. And how do you empty it? When you empty it, you fill it in with the nicer things. The minute you let go of hatred, you'll allow love in, right? So this is something that you need to start working on, so that your bag is a lighter and a fresher bag. So again, the attitude for you to use is humility, and let go of that me, which is your mind and your ego. The third power is the power to tolerate. Okay. The power to tolerate requires a lot of inner strength and inner power. Okay. It is about being able to handle the most stormy situations. It takes a lot of inner strength to have this power of tolerance. And how? I mean, It's a power where when you can say, I even love my enemies. That's the power of tolerance. It's very hard, but we all have it. And how do we practice? How do we build? How do we realize? How do we dig into this power of tolerance? So before we go into that, what I want you to do is I want you to write down 3 things, any 3 characteristics or traits that you find very hard to tolerate in people. Like, I can't tolerate people, for example, I can't tolerate people who are just lazy. I can't tolerate people who are, always late. So I want you to write down 3 things that you can't tolerate in people.
May I say something?
Of course.
Yeah. So if it's about toleration, I think I can tolerate everyone, but the act of tolerance itself is so difficult.
Brilliant. So, what is it about the act, when you talk about the act of tolerance, what is it that, yes, we all tolerate people, but what are the things that you find hard to tolerate? What are the attributes?
Sorry.
Like you just said, Shareen, people being late, really hard to tolerate.
Yeah. So it could be anything, I mean, everybody finds, like, some people can't tolerate people who speak very rudely, right? So anything, what are the attributes that you find very hard to tolerate in people? Any 3?
People who lie to your face.
Yeah. Okay. For example, people who lie. So when you have a list of 3, can someone who hasn't shared please share?
Hi, Miss Shareen. This is
You've
Hi.
already covered the most important ones.
Hi, Shareen, can I speak?
Yes, of course.
I can't tolerate fake people
Okay. What else?
and having too much attitude.
Very good. And what else?
Yeah, and just now, just you said loud and rude behavior
Okay.
and
Brilliant.
letting others down. I can't tolerate all this.
Okay. Very good.
Shareen. I'm going to share.
Yes, Gia.
I'm sorry, I'm getting my head up. I hate lazy people.
Okay.
I completely find it difficult to tolerate unmotivated people and negative people. People who say, oh, I can't do it. They won't even think I can't do it. Yeah. I hate them.
Okay. Great. Can I have one more person to share this?
Yeah, Miss
Hi.
Shareen, I'd like to share. This is Mansi.
Yeah.
I hate people who, again, as I said, are very angry and they vent out their anger by screaming. So I don't like people who scream.
Okay.
I hate negativity.
Okay.
Whenever anything comes up, the first thing they see is not the positive but the negative aspect of it. So that's something I can't tolerate at all. And I hate people who backbite.
Okay. Brilliant. I just want you to look at this list that all of you have. Okay. If you look at the list that you have, you don't like negative people. I want you to, next to that, write down what is the opposite of that. What is the opposite of negative, and what is the opposite of whatever you have on the list? Because, yeah, write down the opposite.
So the opposites are all the awesome things, I feel.
Yeah. You know what you can't tolerate in people, right? What you can't tolerate in people is just what you are not. Look at it.
I totally believe by that. Yes.
Yes. What you can't, so we can't tolerate we are the opposites of what you have written. So when we can't tolerate things, certain characteristics in people, if you reflect on it, it's because we are not made of those. Like Gia said, I don't like unmotivated people. That's because she is perhaps a very motivated person. Or Mansi said, I don't like angry people. It means she is a very calm person. So what do we do? How do we handle this? The attitude that we need to develop is the attitude of love. Because when you can love these people, then you can easily tolerate them, right? So it's hard, but we need to practice the attitude of love and accept situations and people which are hard. So that's the attitude of love. Think about it. when you have these unmotivated people who are late, who are angry, if you just close your eyes and say, right, I love these people, if you can throw away all those differences, as hard as it is, then your level of tolerance, that power of tolerance, becomes much bigger and brighter in you, right? Oops, sorry. Yeah. So I want to remind you about this rubber band effect. We all have a certain amount that we can tolerate, right? We're all like these resilient rubber bands. The more, you need to know how much you can pull yourself and come back. And with a rubber band, when you keep pulling yourself and coming back, it becomes softer, more flexible, more resilient. But we also need to know how much we can pull ourselves so that we don't snap. If you feel that you're going to snap, what do? Which power would you use? Come on, can someone unmute and tell me? If you feel that you're going to snap,
Withdraw inwards.
you can withdraw, and somebody said something else?
Tolerate.
Yeah. Then you remind yourself about your tolerance. You remind yourself that you can love everything. So that's why I said that these powers work very intertwined with each other. And then the next one is the power to adjust. We have seasons out there. We are the ones who have to adjust to what we wear for those seasons. So the power to adjust is to just accept things the way they are. Accept what is rather than sing the song of disappointment. We complain about a lot of people and a lot of things, and it's not helping you in any way. You are just going to build a lot of negativity, and you're going to fill up that baggage of yours that you have to carry. So let go. Stop complaining. Again, it's not that easy. And the analogy I like to use with this is, the ocean. When you look at an ocean, it receives all kinds of rivers into it. The dirty rivers, the rivers flowing fast, the small, all kinds. It accommodates all of these. And that's how we need to be. We need to adjust. And what is the attitude? The attitude, I will just come to that. Before that, you can't change situations, you can't change other people. The only thing that you can change is yourself. So to practice this, or to build the power of adjustment, what you need is maturity. You need adaptability like the ocean. And I love this. I love this circle of influence. And it's to remind all of us, you look at that green circle in there, that is what we can control. We can control our moods, we can control what we have. And then you have another circle in the middle, which is called the circle of influence. And then you have a bigger circle outside, which is not in your control or influence, right? So, for example, in Jakarta, we're stuck in traffic, right? What happens? You are in control of your own mood. Do you want to sit in the car and just read something or listen to some music and be happy, or you want to complain and feel miserable? That is in your control. But what is not in your control is the traffic. With people also, sometimes what people do is not in our control. What is in your control? The way you react or the way you respond to those people. So, how do we change this? What we can do is by practicing these powers and these attitudes. When there are people that you can't change, whether a lot of people would say, my mother in law, my husband, all the attitudes of people that you can't change, they're there. But when you use your inner powers and your attitudes, you can slowly, you can't change them, but you can bring them in the middle into the circle of influence. So you can bring them into that so that it's nearer to your circle of control. And that is what we all need to be able to do. Okay, we need to be mature enough, develop the attitude of maturity, but we can't change these people. So let's try and influence them. So the next time you feel that you really can't change people, a tiger doesn't change its stripes, remember. So just try and use your powers to bring them in there. And the thing about this, sorry. So sometimes when you have things happening around you, it's up to you what you want to use to your benefit and what you want to leave. So use your energy where it counts. Get your focus of control. If things are not going the way you want them to be, leave it. Focus on what you want to see. Focus on what is good. And I really believe that any human being, however bad he may be, he has his slice of something that is very nice about him. And I can't remember who said this, but every man you meet is your superior in some way. Everybody you meet is a superior in some way. So let's focus our energy. Let's focus and see what is that and learn to enjoy that rather than look at all the other stuff around you. Drop it. Remember, that's to be put into that bag, which is to be thrown away. Right. So I really like this analogy, which I made up myself, and it reminds me of the triple A in the battery. So when you have anybody, say you have people in your office or whatever, the minute that you have employed somebody, you need to accept them because you employed them, right? And we, as human beings, we all thrive on attention. So you accept people for what they are. You give them attention, and the third A is you acknowledge people for what they are. When you do this, when you accept people for what they are, and look, they have a good slice, give them attention, give attention to that goodness, and acknowledge them. Don't just catch people being bad, catch them being good. That's when the people that you interact with are like fully charged. When you don't practice this, then you've got those drained batteries, and then you've got people who you can't work. The fifth power, we have 8 powers, and this is the fifth power, and the power to discern, right? So in your workbook, there's a very nice saying, which I'm going to read. It says, discernment is not knowing the difference between right and wrong. It is knowing the difference between right and almost right. When you use a microscope, you have to keep adjusting it to get that clarity. So discernment is about being able to get that clarity in a situation, right? You have loads of situations, and sometimes you don't know, is this right? Is this wrong? Is this good? Is this not good? You need to use your power of discernment to get clarity of a situation. And bees, this is a great analogy to discernment. How do bees know which flowers are real and which are not real? How do they know that they should only go to these real? They do not go to these artificial flowers because they have the power to discern that artificial flowers and real flowers have a different electrical energy, and there's a different pattern of fragrance. So even bees have this power to discern. So when you use your knowledge in any situation, collect all the knowledge that you can collect about a situation, and then use your invisible microscope and draw clarity and see what it is that you need to take in and what is it that doesn't matter. Use this power because it's going to help you with the next power, which is the power to judge. When you look at this lady, and she's blindfolded, it is about being objective while making judgments. So often we have to make judgments every day because every decision that you make needs to have some judgment when you make it. When you develop the power of discernment and have the attitude of this clarity of thinking, then it becomes easier for you to judge. It becomes easier for you to throw away bias, to become very objective, and then judge or make decisions which are right for you. And how do you make these decisions? Sometimes it's very hard. Now, because I'm an early childhood educator and at school, we always have to make decisions, and sometimes it's very hard because you've got two things and both could be good. Remember, the power to discern is to know what is the difference between right and almost right. So how do you decide whether I should do A or B? Sometimes we ask other people, we reach out, but at the end of the day, we're not going to always have people around us. And we are going to make decisions which are life altering. I mean, my daughter is on this thing, and I always tell my children that there are certain decisions: the university you go to, the course of study that you're going to, the person that you're going to marry. These are life-altering decisions. And how do you make these decisions? Yes, you reach out to people who are in your life, but what about your own inner moral compass? And the analogy I like is this top, because in school, for example, my top spins around, that bottom thing around which it spins is the well-being of the children. So when I have to decide, okay, should I do this or should I do this? Then I say, okay, this is better for the well-being of the child. Okay. So every time, all of us need to have that thing around which we live our lives. And what is that? That is your life purpose. That is your personal mission and vision statement. As human beings, we need to have a personal mission and vision statement. So keep that there, and it will really help you use the clarity of mind and make your decisions in a much better way. And of course, we need to draw a balance between using our brains and our hearts. Very often when you're very emotional, you make the worst decisions when you're very emotional. Okay, they say love is blind. Yes, the reason love is blind is because you are so caught up in that love, and that's why even when you're angry, even when you're frustrated, so often you say something and then you go back and you regret, and that regret is in your heavy bag. Now you have to let go of that bag. So what do? When you are in an emotion, when you are angry, when you're frustrated, do not make decisions, because this is what happens, right? So let's look at this as being our brain. Okay, this is the lower emotional brain, and this upper part is the prefrontal cortex, which is in charge of all the rational decision making that we do. Now, a normal brain works well. Balance is when you have the emotional brain and you have your logical or your thinking brain working together. But when you get very emotional, right? When you get that, you're going to flip the lid. What happens is your emotions are so swollen that you flip the lid. And when you flip the lid, your thinking brain and your emotional brain are not in connection. Your decision is going to be wrong. So wait for a bit, because this will come back. And that's what actually happens when we react and we respond. If you want to learn to respond, you have to wait till your lid comes back. But if you're like this and you make a decision, you are reacting and you might regret it. So learn to draw a balance. And again, it comes from just being aware. And then the seventh power is the power to face. We all make mistakes, loads of mistakes, okay? I don't think there's anyone in life who has a story without having made a mistake, whether it's in life, whether it's a small mistake or a huge. But when you have made a mistake, you need to muster the courage. You made a mistake, it's okay. We need to muster the courage to face this mistake. Otherwise, what's going to happen is you're going to be spiraling in this storm of negativity, regret. I shouldn't have done it. I should have, you're going to go back and you're going to regress. So fine, acknowledge your mistake. Acknowledge everything wrong that you may have done and be ready to face it. And how do we do that? By developing the attitude of courage. I really like this. I learned that courage was not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. We're human beings. We will feel fear. We will make mistakes. We will feel fear. But our fears are bigger than our dangers. We worry more than we should, right? So remember, you have the power to face. Remember, that's in your own treasury. So what you need to dig into is your attitude of courage. We all have it. I really believe God only gives you what he knows you can handle. And if you can't handle it, he won't give it to you, right? So this is a learning pit, and I like to use it as an analogy, because very often, I mean, let's look at losing weight. Sometimes we want to lose weight and we can't jump from one side of the pit to the other side of the pit. You know, sometimes you fall down at the pit, and that's where you feel, oh my God, I'm here now. It's so hard. I can't do this. I give up. That's the time where you need to know that no, you don't have to give up. You can climb up the other side of the pit to achieve success. So we need to confront anything, whether it's something as simple as just struggling with losing weight or bigger problems in life. We fall into that pit, and when we fall in there, we need to know that it's not. We don't give up. We face it. We climb up slowly. We can ask for help. We can introspect. We can use all these other powers and go up there. I just like this. Delay is the deadliest form of denial. Sometimes we don't want to face things. We just say, yeah, okay, fine, I'll handle it later. I'll handle it later. And that is delaying it, is denying it. So no, when you have to face something, you have the courage. Remember, you have that courage. So dig into it and use it. And the last power is the power to cooperate. Now, that is the most important. It's the culmination of all powers. Cooperating is doing things for one another. Cooperating is doing things for other people, touching the lives of other people. And it starts with cooperating from home. If you cannot cooperate with your own family members, then how can you cooperate with the world? So what do we do? How do we build this power? You need to develop the attitude of team spirit. A team is not a group who work together. It is a group of people who trust each other. I really like this. When there is a game of soccer, each one of those soccer players may be fantastic. They're very talented, but only when they cooperate and play together can they win the game. If they do not have cooperation, they can have the best members on the team, but they're not going to win. And that is the same thing with families, with couples, with anything. You need to build that sense of cooperation. And when I say it's a culmination of powers, to cooperate, you need to be able to use all the other powers, because then you can cooperate very easily. An act as simple as seeing somebody's best qualities and not their weaknesses is a noble act of cooperation. So I'm going to, I think in your workbook, I have given you this. I really want you to do this before we end this. I have put here family ritual ideas. So one of the best ways to start cooperating and start having this thing with families is to set up your own rituals, set up your own activities, so that there is a time where everybody is actually doing things for one another. So if you're 4 members in the family, sometimes your child wants to do something else, your other child wants to do something else, mom wants to do something else, dad wants to do something else. It very often happens that people want to do different things. So when you set up family rituals, so for example, every Sunday is a game day, or every Tuesday we're going to do whatever, we're going to cook together. When you start doing these small family ritual things, you are creating a sense of cooperation. And when you start with you, when you can be cooperative, remember, you can lead your family, and slowly you will start leading the whole world. So I like this, which says, individually we are each one color. Together we make a rainbow, right? And that's the beauty of a rainbow. It's beautiful only because the colors are put there together. It's the same thing with your powers. It's beautiful when you can put them all together, because that will create that beautiful transformational person. I'm going to end with this, which says, these powers and attitudes connect us to our own capacity to lead ourselves and others. They manifest differently in individuals and change as to circumstances. So sometimes you might have It's easier to practice the power of tolerance sometimes, and sometimes it's very hard. But bring your awareness to the fact that you have these powers, and bring your awareness to the fact that you can use the attitudes to build on these powers. This is a last reflective question to ask yourself. Where have you reached? Because nobody can build your powers for you. If it's to be, it's up to me. So it's really in your hands. And when your cup is full, okay, we are all cups constantly, quietly being filled. The trick is knowing how to tip ourselves over and let the beautiful stuff out. So when your cup is full, then whatever you do, with whomever you do it, you're going to tip out what is in your cup. So if you're going to develop the attitude of love, clarity of mind, adaptability. If you're going to fill your cup with all these things, you're going to tip it over, and everyone else around you is going to get that and also pick it up. But if you're not going to fill it up with those, then you can't expect people around you to have those either. So I'm going to leave you with that thought. Thank you very much for today. I'd love to see all your faces, and if maybe Poonam can get a photo before we end this.
Yeah, before we end this, Shareen, can I ask you to stop sharing? Maybe we can have a little sharing from...
Oh, brilliant.
Excellent. So, hello everyone. Can I ask everybody to please, put on your videos so we can see all the beautiful people online, and we can also do a little bit of sharing and talk about what you learned, what you liked most about it, and what is it that you'd like, what will you probably be doing straight away today. Okay.
Just a very
Jia, would you
quick-
like to share? Jia? Sorry, Raj, I interrupted you.
Hi, Poonam.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed today's session, although I was in the middle of doing so many things at the same time. I just feel that these are the things that Ms. Shareen spoke about that I think a lot of us already know. It's just that we all need constant reminders. Like a satsang, we always need that to feed our souls. So no matter how much you know already, sometimes the reminder keeps us going. And I love what Ms. Shareen said about leadership and all that. So I think you should always do this kind of talks, like a satsang, because I don't go satsangs at all. I don't have time to attend satsangs. And like I said, it's English language and it's very digestible. I think we all need a dose of this every now and then. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Jia.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Raj, you were saying?
You know what? It's so magical. Even what Jia just said touched me so deep into the heart. And I think I need to revisit this with Shareen. It's so in-depth. Just a request to everyone, when you go to bed and you wake up, you refresh all the powers and attitudes. Because each time you step into a river, it's never the same. It's never the same. So I think the sharing was so beautiful, and it took me off into many mind maps, which definitely we will revisit. Thank you, Jia, for that really amazing point you just made. And I think there's so many people that need this regularly. And it doesn't have, it's a fantastic platform if we can have it regulated. And I think there are a lot of other platforms we can take this to. But I think Shareen will come back to you with something even deeper from her personal ocean. And you are all oceans yourself. Sorry, there's a plane flying overhead. You are all oceans, and the depth of the treasury. So everything that Shareen said is already inside of you. So what she did was communicare, just communicated it so beautifully as rock songs, pop songs, the songs that touch your heart. But the respect that you pay back as educare is to bring out what's inside of you. Real education, she's the number one educator, is real education, is word from educare, is to bring out what's already inside of you. And, you know, God, you brought God into it. It's so beautiful, pure white light. And Gia just said it. You know what it is when you lose sight of blind faith is you then come into the bridge of knowledge. And what she said is, I just love this bridge of knowledge. And that's what it is. The number one thing is, as we sow, so we reap. I'm really honored. I must have sown some very special seeds to have met every one of you. And even during my workout, I'm sorry. But thank you so much. And I hope I meet all of you. Hi there, Sony. Good. Lovely, lovely. Thank you so much, Poonam. Lovely to know you all. Thank you. Thank you.
Would anybody else like to share?
I'd just like to add that, yes, like Gia said, we all have the knowledge of all that Shareen said, but it was very beautifully and very simply put. The analogies were beautiful that you can really relate to. Each one of them was so simple that we can relate to it very easily and is very heart-touching. And I love those little quotes, you know, that she put in, even though some of them were known, some of them were unknown, but they were beautiful, very simple, and really touched the soul.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. That's lovely. Geeta, any sharing from you?
I would only say one thing. Let's have her again once more. She's too good.
Thank you.
I would really want another session, Poonam. Please do it, because, you know, everything she said came from the heart and went into the heart directly. It did not go anywhere else. So it was a direct heart-to-heart talk. Everything was so absolutely true, practical, and very nicely, you know, explained. So please, let's have her very soon.
Thank you, Geeta. Thank you. Thank you, Shareen. That was, I think, a very nice and wonderful. If anybody has any last minute sharing, please raise your hand. Otherwise, we're going to call it a close for this session. Shareen, thank you so much. Yes, Shareen, you want to say something? So thank you, everyone. It was wonderful to have you online at this time and to hear from Shareen, her sharing on all the inner powers that we have. And I wish you lots of power. May the power be with you. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks for being here on a Saturday afternoon.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Thanks, Poonam. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Phenomenal. Thank you.